wants to be king!
Welcome back to the War Room. In a previous video, I said that I was gonna be done with dealing with manosphere topics, the red pill shit, because I think that space is filled with just a bunch of beta, sissified crybaby bitches. The things that these guys regurgitate over and over again is just a monotonous stream of bullshit, because there's just a continuous stream of new dudes that are getting hurt and used by women. And so it's a really good marketing tool. It works because being a pathetic bitch is way easier than looking at oneself and fixing oneself. When you got a bunch of dudes just saying the same generic shit, live your best life, bro, and flexing and acting like having money and material shit is some kind of way equal to being men, it's gross. It's disgusting, because we've got a culture of fake peacock dudes that are so vaginal. The way that they react to shit, the way that they view things, the way that they place importance on shit that women care about is insane. And these same dudes are the ones who are preaching, you know, that they're 1% motherfuckers and they're alphas and all this. You know, I've made no secret about my disdain, my almost hatred for these fake motherfuckers, because what they do is more harm than good for men. They've got a lot of dudes looking up to them. They've got dudes paying them for advice, looking to them for guidance, and they're perpetrating a fraud. And any real man can look at these dudes, from the motherfuckers who can't stop talking about pimps, to the clowns that bring the bobbleheads on their show just to berate them and recite their Daddy Tomasi shit. It's a circus, and it's gotten to be just like our society. It's disgusting. But every now and then the stars align and things happen, and they find themselves parallel with my own existence and shit that I'm going through, and I have to address it. In this particular instance, I'm not going to go into the details of the conflict, because it's being covered pretty well in the manosphere, but in somewhat vaginal terms. But the beef between Abba and Preach and Flimsy and whatever the fuck those clowns are, that right there has shined a light on a lot of shit. Because what these guys did, what Abba and Preach did, was simply give their opinion on what these clowns say. And again, any man that listens to these little punks talk about women knows that they're paying for all the women that they deal with. No woman of any value would have anything to do with these dudes. Myron Gaines is probably has a lot of sugar in his tank. That dude, if he ain't all the way on the other side, I know he jumps back and forth across that fence. That's my opinion, just by the way the dude moves, the way that he talks. The little conflict that they just had about, you know, Abba and Preach just being honest. All they did was gave their honest opinion. And while these two punk bitches can sit over there and talk all the shit that they want, throw rocks and stones and kick women out and flex and beat on the chest all they want, they can't handle when men look at them and say, you're kind of like a hoe. You act like a little boy. Your viewpoint is kind of weak, but they're alphas, right? What we saw, the reaction from Funky and Flimsy, that right there was indicative of how vaginal young men are today. The disrespect shown for these dudes because they're old ass niggas, that right there is strike number one. That's what happens when you grow up with no real male guidance. That's what happens when the only leadership you have is other bitch dudes like yourself. And that's why you got these two clowns talking all this shit, bragging about how many times they get their hair cut and how nice their studio is and all this mundane bullshit, trying to validate themselves. But the problem that I have is when these two fucking clowns decided to go in on Preach's wife and talk shit and then start talking about boxing. You see, these dudes have an audience. They have an audience of beta sheep bitches that are cheering them on in everything that they do. And all of their little cuck babies that keep them floating, they're gonna back them. Men are gonna be on Abba and Preach's, I almost said Key and Peele, Abba and Preach's side, because all they did was tell the truth, and they told solid truth. They didn't come off with Daddy Tomasi's bullshit facts. That whole faction of dudes basically just jerks each other off and spews their shit. But the fact that these little punks started flexing and challenged Preach to a boxing match, taking your shit off and flexing in the camera like you're a bad motherfucker. See, you young punks think that you're bad, you think that you're badasses. You watch a couple of movies, you go to the gym, take whatever supplements to make you feel good about yourself, circle jerk with your buddies, and you pretend that you're fucking badasses. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was out to dinner, and as soon as I walked in, I had a little bitch, just like Myron Gaines, start sizing me up the moment I walked into the bar. I went in there for dinner. I went in there just to mind my own fucking business, and this little young punk grabs me by the arm and starts basically riding my jockstrap because of the way I'm built. Now, I don't put any worth in that shit. I'm an athlete. This is just a side effect from what I do. I don't walk around like a fucking peacock trying to show myself off, and I wasn't doing it that night. This dude just decided that he was a young lion, decided that there was an old lion, he was gonna start playing a game. And so I started playing the game with him. I play myself small because there's nothing that's insecure. I know exactly who I am, and I know exactly what I'm capable of doing. And so I played along, played myself down, but as the liquor started flowing, the little punk kept running his mouth. And at a certain point, I'm done playing. And so after he made some fly-ass comment to me, I told him, listen, man, I'll knock you the fuck out. And I guess to him, that was a challenge. He wanted to get emotional and shit. And I told him, this is what we'll do. We'll go get in my car. We'll roll down to my gym. I'll give you some headgear. We'll put on some gloves. I won't put any headgear on. I'll knock you the fuck out, put you back in the car, bring you back to the bar, buy you a drink. No harm, no foul. Well, the little dude must have thought I was playing because he walked out in the parking lot and we get halfway between the door and my car and he stops. And now he wants to fucking talk. Oh, man, you serious? Yeah, man, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. You want to fuck with me? You want to keep talking shit? You want to play? I know what you're doing. I used to be a young dummy too. I'm going to show you something. Just come on. The dude got scared. Now all of a sudden he wants to have a fucking conversation. Where do you train at, bro? I want to train all this fucking bullshit. And I told him in that moment, listen, bro, you're lucky as fuck that I'm old man and I'm calm now. Because had it been just 10 years ago, I would have took your fucking head off just for grabbing me by my arm. You don't walk up to a man that you don't know and start talking shit to him. You don't put your motherfucking hands on him. And I took that moment because I'm grown now. I took that moment to educate this dude because had he run into me maybe even 5 years ago, it would have been the bail the moment this motherfucker decided he was gonna turn and look at me and try to flex his little nuts. He was a bitch, just like Myron Gaines. Now this is what I'm gonna say. This is the whole point of this video. All of you little fake alpha motherfuckers that are bragging about your worth and your value in this space, how real you are because of how much people watch you. There's two things involved in this. Number one, I'm gonna shed a little bit of light why people watch you, Myron Gaines, because you got so many little beta bitch dudes that are so sad and so simpish that they love tuning in watching an overgrown bitch bully women. That's what they're tuning in for. You ain't hot. There's just a bunch of little coward dudes just like you. And they would rather watch you than go watch somebody that's gonna tell them, listen, man, the reason why that woman treated you that way is because you're a little bitch. Now, number two is this. You went out of your way to make a video and call Preach out. Preach responded in kind. He asked you what size gloves you want. Now, this is real talk. For you and all your little followers, your little groupies, If you and your little bitch ass homeboy, if you two little faggot motherfuckers, if you niggas don't line up and take it from the shoulders from Preach, if he shows up at your studio, if you back out of that, if you talk your way out of that, you're a hoe, you're a bitch, and anybody who listens to you, anybody who follows you is the same thing. You threw the gauntlet down. You little punk motherfuckers made that challenge, and the man accepted it. Now, back that shit up. Out.